All right, so this one says some people, okay, so at least one person favors city funding for the spaying and neutering of pets at the owner's request. They claim that the decrease in the number of stray animals to contend with will offset the cost of funding. All right, I'm like, that makes sense. They say like, essentially like, we can just pay this fee up front and then we'll spend less money later on. These people fail to realize that over 80% of pet owners already pay to spay or neuter their pets, so there will not be a significant decrease in the number of stray animals if this funding is provided. All right, so our conclusion here is there will not be a significant decrease if the animals in the city are provided. So this is a strength and accept question. And so how I write down, like I tell people this all the time, I write down A, B, C, D, and E on my piece of paper on the test. And if it strengthens it, I put yes, and I write it down, because what happens is we read all 5 answer choices. We're debating between 2. We go back, we pick which one strengthens it, and then we select that one and move on when really we need the accept one. We do it all the time. And so I make myself write yes to 4 and no for every single answer choice, so I remember to select the no. And so for this, I'm like, if it strengthens it, I'm going to cross it off. And so A says very few of the stray animals in the city are offsprings of pets. Like, yeah, that definitely strengthens it, because it's like the strays are not coming from the offspring of pets. B says many pet owners would have their animals spayed or neutered sooner if fundings were provided by the city. This does not strengthen it. So I would leave this one open. I don't love it because it uses the word many, and many's mild, but I'm going to go ahead and leave this one open. C says the only, and by the way, the only time that only introduces sufficient is when it's the only, because only normally introduces a necessary condition because it has the N. But the only time it introduces sufficient is the only. But anyways, the only way the number of stray animals can be decreased is if existing strays are sprayed or neutered. Okay, well, just because that's the only way to do it, that doesn't mean that, wait, does that strengthen? Sorry. So there will not be a significant decrease. The only way way the number of stray animals can decrease is if existing strays are spayed or neutered.
I think that strengthens the idea that the pet owners don't need funding, because it's the strays that need to be spayed and neutered.
Oh, thank you, Malika. I was like struggling to see that. Yes, if it's the existing strays. So it's not talking about the pet. We're talking specifically about the pets themselves. So this one's irrelevant. Thank you. So more than 50% of pet owners who do not have their pets spayed or neutered believe that spaying and neutering are morally wrong. This one strengthens it because they're not, even if you provide funding, they're not going to get them spayed or neutered, right? Like they think it's morally wrong. And then E says the majority of pets that are not spayed or neutered are used for breeding purposes and are not likely to produce stray animals. That strengthens it because that means that if they're used for breeding purposes, it's not like even if you provide funding, they're going to get them spayed or neutered. And so the reason that our answer is B is because if it were provided, the funding was provided sooner, maybe that would prevent them from having breeding earlier. Like maybe there's litters that we could avoid. And so it's not a huge accept, but it definitely doesn't do anything to strengthen the argument, right? So sometimes whenever we have these accept, it doesn't mean the correct answer has to weaken it. It might do nothing. And that's what we have going on here.